right, welcome to part 3. We are going to work on the left side of the folio. So you have your A panel. Go ahead and fold and burnish on those score lines. Oh, I gotta grab my stuff. And we are going to miter just that outside flap, the 1-inch flap. All right, and now what we're going to do is we are going to position our panel so that those score sections are off to the left. Okay, and then we're going to grab piece B and piece C. We'll go ahead and assemble those at the same time. So these are both pockets. And what we do with pockets is we cut off the 2 squares that were created when our score lines intersected. Okay. And then we can fold and burnish on those score lines. Okay, so main panel back out. Score sections are to the left. We're going to take pocket B first. Okay, so our opening is going to be at the top. And what we are going to do is we're just going to adhere this so it's flush with the bottom and the right edges. Okay, so just like that. So it will line up along the, it's going to line up over the entire panel, not counting the score marks. Okay, so I think I will just adhere glue to the bottom, to the bottom flap first. You can even fold these under. That makes it easier for you. Okay. Okay, and then I'm going to apply the glue to my left and right flaps and get the entire pocket adhered down. I think I'm going to give these 2 corners a few minutes. All right, I'm just going to let these sit for maybe about 5 minutes. All right. And now we're going to take the piece C, which is also a pocket. Our opening is going to be at the top, and we are just going to adhere it to the bottom of the previous pocket. Oops. Okay, so we're just going to do that. I'm going to give this one a few minutes as well. Okay. All right, so we have, next up, we have 4 pieces labeled D. Let's go ahead and fold and burnish on those score lines. Okay, and then what we want to do is we want to measure over from the left edge, not including our score line, so this left edge. We want to measure over somewhere near the bottom, not at the bottom. I'm going to measure over 5/8 of an inch. And I'm going to do the same thing near the top of pocket C. And then I'm going to do the same thing over on the right-hand side. And those are going to be my little guides to tell me where I am adhering my D pieces. So we may decide that we want to connect those lines. We can erase them when we're done. Okay, so we're going to take our first D piece and we are going to line that folded edge and we're going to adhere it. Let's go ahead and cover up that pencil mark, just cover it up. And we want to be about 3/8 of an inch away from the bottom. It doesn't have to be perfect, but about 3/8 of an inch away. So I am going to put glue on the back of the flap. Again, I'm going to line it up either with that pencil line or just cover up the pencil line so that we don't have to erase it. out there is good. So we're about 3/8 of an inch away from the bottom edge, and we're about 5/8 of an inch away from the left edge, okay? All right, what is that? I don't know what that is. Okay, and then we're gonna take another of our D pieces, and we are gonna do the same thing on the right-hand side. And this time we can just line it up with the first one. So we can just make sure those two are flush with one another. And we are still gonna line up the right edge with that pencil line that we drew. Okay? Okay. There we go. All right. And then our remaining two D pieces are going to get adhered just inside of the first ones. You do want to make sure that you can still fold these shut, okay? So don't allow this one to be shoved against it so tightly that you can't fold this one down. And then this one is going to go about 3/8 of an inch away from the top edge of the pocket. So it will look like about that. Where's my red scrap paper? There it is. All right, so we'll go ahead and put a piece of paper underneath pocket C, just so we can see its edge clearly. All right, so I am just eyeballing it. I'm just you know, keeping it away from the edge of that pocket. About 3/8 of an inch. I can still fold D down pretty well. Beautiful. Let's see here. There it is. And then we are going to do the same thing with our remaining piece D over here. Okay, so that is what that looks like. And for now, I am going to keep mine closed with, actually, that's how I have mine closed even when the album is finished. I use paper clips. If you have decorative paper clips, fantastic. Make your own or use plain ones, whatever you prefer. Okay. So let's turn this A panel over so that our score lines, our score sections are now off to the right. And get out our next piece in line, which is piece E, and then also get out F. So these two are also pockets. Okay, so we can go ahead and prepare those the way we do pockets, which is cut off those little squares at an angle. And let's do E, well, it doesn't matter. Let's just go ahead and fold and burnish on the score lines of both pockets. Now we'll start with the larger one, which is piece E, okay? And let's bring our panel back out. So again, our score lines are off to the right. And piece E, we're gonna make this pocket, position this pocket so that opening is on the left. And we are going to adhere it against the right edge of our panel, not including our score lines, okay? So it's going to get adhered just like so. So I am again going to start with the flap opposite the opening. Get that adhered down. Perfect. And then we can, you guessed it, close up the rest of the pocket. I'm just kind of flattening things out as much as I can so that I'm not burnishing over a bunch of bulk. And I think I will go ahead and let these corners sit again for just a few minutes. These binder clips are really strong. All right, so let's go ahead and take pocket F, which we also prepared already. And this time we are going to take the opening and it's going to go off to the right. And we're going to adhere it to the left edge of this pocket. So we can go ahead and slide a contrasting piece of paper under pocket E just so that we can see its edge clearly. And we are going to adhere it just like that, okay? I guess I'll keep those out. Okay, so pocket opening to the right. Beautiful. And then we can close up our pocket. All right. Okay, next we have pieces G. There's 2 of them. So let's go ahead and fold and burnish on our score lines. Okay. And what we're going to do with these 2 is they are going to get adhered against the right edge of our F pocket. So we can again just stick a piece of paper under there so we can better see its edge. I'm going to adhere one anywhere, you know, from 3/8 of an inch, half an inch, just eyeball it. And then this one is going to get adhered inside of that one, that same distance from the top. So we're going to start with one near the bottom. Okay, so flush against the right edge of pocket F, about, you know, 3/8 of an inch, half an inch from the bottom edge. And the other one, again, is going to go just inside the first one. Make sure that it can still fold. And about the same distance from the top. Okay, perfect. I feel like there's something stuck underneath my paper. I feel a little lump under there. Yeah, there's something under there. Maybe not. Okay, so. All right, so far we have pocket here. We have pocket here. And we have 2-piece G flaps. All right, and next we have piece H. So we're gonna fold and burnish on this score line, and I have not mitered this one yet, so I will go ahead and do that. And then this is going to get adhered flush against the left edge of our panel, just like so. Okay, so now that is what this looks like so far. Okay, next we have 2 pieces, 2 pieces I, and those are going to be our closure pieces. Okay, so let me see here. So I went ahead and I mitered the corners, I guess you could say. So the easiest way that I know how to do this is just measure 1/2 inch from the corners. 1/2 inch in both directions from the corners, and then cut from line to line. And then use your first one on your second one. So your first one kind of becomes a template. Okay, there we go. Okay, so on the other ends, we are gonna fold and burnish. I'm just gonna hold off on that for a minute. No, that's okay, we'll go ahead and do it now. I was gonna say, we don't have to do the other part yet. So let's go ahead and fold and burnish on all 3 score lines on these 2 pieces. We don't have to burnish super hard. You could kind of leave the insides a little flexible, the inner score lines a little flexible if you wanted. Okay, so these are going to be our closure pieces. So what I did was I adhered one to the very center of panel H, like so, and the other one gets adhered to the very center of not the 2 score sections of our panel, but the far right edge. Okay, so not this pocket, but not over here either. Okay, so just inside those two score sections, so the right edge of the actual panel. And I think I will go ahead and just kind of get an idea of exactly where the center is. All right, so we are going to only glue down the 1/2 inch flap. So I think I'll make those other two score lines sit flat while I glue this one on. Perfect. All right, so you can see those two score lines, those two 1/8 of an inch little gussets are still free. Okay, so that's going to allow them to close up all the contents on this page and have some space. Okay, same thing with this one. We're just going to adhere the 1/2 inch flap. So let me flatten out those other two score sections. Apply glue to it, to the 1/2 inch flap. And then I do want to make sure that's pretty much in line with this one. Okay, there we go. All right. So this is what those two look like. Oh, good. Wait a minute. Oh, I thought I had them totally out of alignment for a minute. I scared myself. Maybe, oh yeah, they are. Do they even measure the same? 2 7/8. Yeah. Yeah, maybe a smidge off, but I'm not gonna let it bother me. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so let's go ahead and put our eyelets into these two closure pieces. So about halfway. Okay, and then we will punch our holes. And set your eyelets. And of course, if you want to mat your closure pieces, make sure you mat before you punch your holes and put your eyelets in. All right, so here is our folio, and we are working on the left side of the folio. So we have this one ready to go in, like so, and we have this one ready to go in like so, but I'm gonna find it much easier to mat this section before I adhere it to the book, just like I did with that one. So we're gonna go ahead and mat all of this, and then we can go ahead and adhere these two pieces down. And then once these two are adhered down, we have to adhere these two down before we can start all the interactive elements on the actual chipboard panel. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and mat the section that we just finished putting together. Okay, so to mat inside of these 4-piece Ds, I'm just measuring from the creases of the 2 inner flaps, okay? And then I will just lay a strip on the outside of those 2 flaps. So I'm gonna put this piece here. I'm going to put these strips here. That one there, this one here, and I'm going to use these 2 ephemera cards for the tops of the flaps, and I'm going to use these for the tops of the flaps on the bottom. Okay? So just decide what you want and measure and cut your pieces, and then ink your edges, and then get everything adhered down. I inked everything except for these. Actually, before I started adhering, but I need to tell you, before you start gluing things down, I am going to cut a slot in this. So let me show you how to do that now, so that if you want to do that as well, you don't glue it down first. So, I know in the Wilds one folio, where am I? I'm right here. Okay. In that folio I did 2 slots, one near the bottom and one pretty much centered. You can do whatever you would like. I think I will continue with that. I will do that as well on the other one, on this one. So pencil, craft knife, and a mat. All right, so this is the bottom of my page here. And I guess I will go about 2 inches. 2 inches looks good to me. And I'm about exactly 2 inches away from the edge of the page, from that edge as well. Okay, so from about there to there, I can see my pencil marks even if you can't. So just, you know, figure out where you want your slots to be. And then I will stay above those 2, if I can. And maybe I'll go 3 inches above it. So 5 inches from the bottom of my paper. I'm going to punch holes there. Perfect. And then I'm just gonna do what we did the last time, which is cut a line from the top of one to the top of the other, and then from the bottom of one to the bottom of the other. And I'm going to ink those edges. Okay, so now that one is ready to get adhered. But just make sure when you are adhering yours, you do not put glue under the 2 slots, of course, because then we won't be able to slide things in there. Okay, so that is that side matted. And if you want a better look at what the Wilds and Free folio looks like, So this piece here, I just cut 4 by 6 or 4 1/8 by 6 1/8 pieces from it to adhere to the front. And I also used a section of that piece for this pocket here. I used my stripes on the top pocket and the sides. And I also use my text piece for this one as well. So I'm quite in love with using this overlay, and I'm quite in love with these stripes. As you can see, I used them in both collections, both paper collections. And then I just took some of my solid complements for the backs of these. Pink polka dots, orange polka dots, tan, and that's what I did for that album. Okay, so let's turn that over. Again, just figure out what you want to go where. Okay. For the Wild and, or not Wild and Free, the Baby You're Wild One folio, for that one, this is probably my favorite page in this album. Oh, I did mat these closures. Okay, well, they're not matted in the new album. That's okay. I could always fix that if I wanted to. All right, so for this pocket here, I use this monkey, which is probably my favorite piece in the collection as well. Cut a slot out. And then I use this pink paper, this pink pattern for my photo mats. And I use this feature design piece, cut it up, one here, one here. And then over here, we have this pattern which complements the monkey paper very well. I put that under the pocket. And then on the top of the flap, and then over in this pocket here, I use this blue polka dot paper. On the back of the flap, this was a scrap. I used that and I cut along the edge of the flowers there so I could use that as an insertion spot. Okay, so that is what I did for the Baby You're a Wild One folio for this page. Oops. Okay, oh, that went over there. All right, so back to this side. Oh no. So I did actually mat these in the other album because they are rather large. I'm trying to decide what I want to do. Okay, well, let me see here. I've already picked out the pieces that I want. This is gonna go here. Solid pink is gonna go under that pocket. And for my feature pages in this basket full of fun paper collection, I printed everything out in 12 by 12, but the feature pages. Okay, so that's the 6 scenes and then the 6 wreaths that come with the collection. There are 6 different wreaths. As you can see, I told Photoshop to print it on 12 by 12 paper, but I shrunk it down to about 10 3/8 of an inch. Okay, that way it's a better fit. So I was able to use, because my album is 10.5, and I like 1/8 inch borders, I had Photoshop print these out at 10 3/8. So I could use the entire scene from top to bottom. All right, so anytime I had a feature page, which is 6 main scenes and 6 wreaths, I printed those out about 10 3/8 by 10 3/8. You can go 12 by 12. You can even go 8 by 8 if your album is, if you're maybe, you know, making a different album. So that's, if you're wondering how I got that to fit, that entire scene to fit on this album that's not 12 by 12, that is how I did it. I did print all of the pattern paper, however, everything else in 12 by 12, because the more of that I have, the better. I can get, you know, use more of it if I have more. Okay. And then I believe I'm using these for this panel. I'm using the pink over here as well. So that's what that will look like. And then when that all closes, I've got this flower piece here. I have no idea what this is for. Oh, yes I do. Wait, no, I actually have this for here. And I have these for the flaps, photo flaps. So that's what that will look like. I have no idea what I was going to do with this, but I was, oh, maybe I was originally going to put that here and then I changed my mind. Okay, so just figure out what you would like to go where. I am going to look at this now that I have my pieces set down and figure out if I want to mat my closure pieces. I think I will. That's a lot of real estate to leave plain. I don't know, I'm so undecided. Okay, well, I'm gonna adhere all this down for now. All right, I'm going to show you how I'm fixing this, just in case you ever have the same problem. Okay, so all right, so I am just going to cover these with craft paper. Oops, sorry. Okay, so now I can go ahead and mat those as if I had never cut holes in them. Oh my goodness, I got it stuck down to my paper. It's okay. Okay, so, and to mat these, all I do is lay this so it's going to sit like this. So I'm going to sit it in the proper position, but on the back side. Line it up so it's got my little 1/8 inch borders around all 4 sides. Keep it in place perfectly, fold it over. Trace, trace. And then I can take, so this one again goes on the front, okay? So then I can take the one that's going to go on the back, keep those perfectly together in the proper orientation, as if the tag was in between them. And cut inside your line. So 1/8 of an inch, if that's the size borders you like. Okay, so I believe this one was the one on the top. Perfect. And I believe this was the one on the bottom. And look how perfect. All right, let me cut 2 more of those. Okay, so over on this side, so this one is going to go on the top, so keep it face up because that's how it's going to be, but slide it behind your tag or your closure piece. Line it up perfectly, little 1/8 inch borders on all 4 sides. Holds it in place. Trace. All right, so again, it's going to sit up top. So then take the one that will sit at the bottom, put it in place. Line those 2 up perfectly and cut inside the line, the size of your border. Beautiful. And beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to ink all these and adhere them down. So now we can go ahead and determine where we want our little holes to go for the eyelets. I'm just gonna mostly eyeball mine, but I do want to make sure I'm generally in the center. And I also want to try to get over top of those 2 circles that I adhered down. Okay, that looks good. This whole closure piece is about, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch lower than the one on the right, but I'm just not gonna let it bother me too much. Otherwise, it will drive me crazy. Okay, there we go. I'm very happy with that.